Hey guys, Aaron Sansoni here, world's #1 21st century sales authority. And I'm going to shoot you a quick video while I'm here in New York. You can see the Statue of Liberty. It's pretty far away, but you can see it there. And we're just hanging out here today. I've got amazing success interviews, but here's the reason I'm here. There's even about six questions that, if I look at the last 6 months on the questions my team have received from all around the world on how they can make more sales in their business, from business owners, entrepreneurs and salespeople, there's about 6 questions that keep coming up time and time again. So I'm going to answer a couple of those for you right now so that you can move forward in your business. So here's one of the questions in no specific order. One of them is, how do I sell when I don't like it? Well, first of all, if you're a small business owner, right? If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a sales professional, you've got to learn to love it. You have to learn to love the process of it. Now, one of the ways that I would say that you learn to love the process of selling a product or service is you've got to become more congruent with one thing and one thing only. What does it mean to that person that you're speaking to, your prospect, your client? What does it really mean to them to move ahead with your product or service? So if you're an accountant and you can convince someone to be able to move ahead with you and be able to get your accounts done with you, what does it mean to them if you're the one that they choose to go ahead with? What is it specifically, when you break it down, what does it actually mean to them specifically if they decide that you're the one they want to move ahead with? Are you going to save them more money? Are you going to save them more on tax? Are you going to be... So think about you as an individual and your product and service, and what does it mean to them if they move ahead? If you're a personal trainer and you're trying to get someone to go ahead with you and start working out with you, well, what does it really mean to them? I mean, are they overweight? If they start losing weight, they start getting more confidence, how does that change their life? When you put yourself in this mindset on what it really means to them to experience the result of the product or the service, you're going to find that your congruence in wanting to go out there and speak to them about it, it gets up a notch. It's not about selling them anymore, it's about convincing them that they need to move ahead and go forward with you because of the benefits to them. And you sell from a space, let me say clearly, you sell from a space that they can believe and trust in what you're talking about. They understand you're there to get them the result. So if there's one thing I can give you on how do I sell when I don't really want to, I don't really like selling, reframe yourself, change your mindset on what selling is when you're here to convince people of the real result that you can deliver them. And you know what? People know they're going to have to pay for a product or service. That's not the focus. The focus is the result you're going to give them. Come from that part within you and who you are and within your gut. They're going to feel it. It's not going to feel like you're selling. It's going to feel like you're convincing them of the value that you can bring to them and what it really means to them if they move ahead and work with you. And I don't care what industry you work in, you can find the real reason on what it really means to someone to move ahead with your product and service that really means something to them. You can drill down, and there's 3 real quick things that I talk about that people really care about. They care about time, they care about money, and they care about the health, happiness, safety, and security of their family. Almost every product in the world, I can narrow down whatever those products are to those 3 elements and connect people to what it really means to them, to be able to do it. So we used the example before of the personal trainer. Well, for that person, obviously, it's a health within them individually. Maybe it's money. Maybe they're spending too much money on junk food. Maybe they're spending too much money on things in their life that they don't need, like smoking. So just from that personal training example, I can connect 2 things. The accounting example I gave you, that's easy. That's money. That's also time. So it's really easy to take any product or service and connect it to one of these really key drives that people care about to help them move ahead with your product or service. And by doing that, it's no longer selling. You're just showing them the benefits they can get by moving ahead with you. And that's one of the questions I always get asked. I don't like selling. You've got to make them enjoy. You've got to make them understand the process of it. Now, here's one of the other questions. Okay, what happens if they say no? Well, no's a part of life. You're going to get a no all the time, and that happens, right? If they say no, you try firstly overcome them, and I'm going to get to that because that's one of the other questions. So pay attention to question, I think it's question 5. I'm going to teach you about this overcome the objection. But let's say you can't overcome it, and they've said no. Move on. Okay? There's 7.5 billion people on this planet. I promise you, there's going to be more people out there for you. But before you move on, maybe ask them if they can refer you to somebody else that they might believe is going to be able to benefit from it. If they're going to be having somebody else going to be able to benefit from what they're offering, well, then ask them for it. right? Ask them for it. It's a traditional referral, but one of the reasons why you want to ask them is because if you have somebody that has said no to moving ahead with your product or service, and you can say, well, is there someone that you would recommend that maybe would take something from, you know, from this, or they would really benefit from my business, my company, my product, my service. If you can ask them that question, by then giving you a referral, it's a bit of a get out of jail free card for them. So they're going to refer you somebody. So before, if they say no, and if you do what I'm going to teach you in question number 5 and overcome the objections and you can't, well, get a referral, move on, say thanks for the time, and move to the next person. There's a lot of people out there. Don't stress about it. People say no all the time. They're going to, right? It's part of life. Question number 3. I love this one, right? And it's very controversial. Are salespeople born or are they made? Well, let me tell you my thoughts on this process. I have spoken in over 25 odd countries. We're trained in 14 countries. I've been to 50 countries. I've trained in 125 industries. I've spoken to millions of people around the world. And when I look at when people ask me that question, whether they're born or whether they're made, I can say categorically that salespeople are not born. They are not made. What they are is they understand they're going to have some principles that they have to learn, some strategies and some techniques, but anybody can become a salesperson. Now, let's face it, some people are going to be born with more dispositions to, be more resilient, for example, which is one of the key things you need to have if you're a salesperson. So if you're born more resilient, well then you're going to have a little bit more of an up on somebody else that's not. Now that characteristic might be born, but to all of the characteristics of being a great salesperson, those things aren't born. You can learn those things, right? I've taught people that that they don't think they connect with people. They're an introvert. Some people are like, oh, I'm too old to sell. I mean, all these people I've taught to sell before them, all the way to the people that are garrulistic and out there and expressive like me. I've taught people that have no resilience. If someone says no to them, they want to go home and cry about it. Like I've taught those people. So here's the thing: salespeople, they're not born. You are born with characteristics. If you speak English, and you're selling in an English-speaking country, is it easy for you to be able to communicate? Of course. So you've got some things that will help you, but you can absolutely make anybody can be made into a sales professional when they learn the strategies, they learn the systems of selling, and also they learn how to affect their state and somebody else's state that they're going to be selling to as well. Next question, number 4. How do I hire a salesperson? This is one we always get. Well, first of all, you need to understand the sales process yourself. I think it's really important. So if you understand how to do that yourself, you're going to be showing them how to sell. You're going to be showing them, the process that they're going to be able to go through when it comes to your product or your service as well. So I would definitely say, well, the first thing is you understanding it. The second thing then is hiring somebody. So if you need to hire a salesperson, I think you've got to look. Firstly, one of the things I like to do is look within the people that have already purchased your product or service. Have a look at somebody that already loves what you do, a raving fan, a tribe member of you, loves what you do, because if you do find someone like that, they might be a great person to bring on if they've got some sales experience into your business for the first time. But what I will say is this: when you're a small business and you're looking at hiring a salesperson, one of the most important things is finding somebody that relates to your brand. Because look, if they don't understand who you are and they don't understand your philosophies, the results that you guys have, your product, your service, if it's just another job to them, then you're going to get frustrated, because if you're a business owner and it's your business, you're going to hold that so close to your chest. You're going to really have something that really does embody your brand, right? Not just, oh, I can sell the product, I've got experience in doing that. So one of my other tips I'm going to give you if you are looking at bringing on a salesperson is look within your tribe of people that have already purchased from you, that love what you do. Second thing is make sure that they are in line with your brand and they have a high will to achieve, right? There's skill and there's will. We want someone that has a high will to achieve, because you can teach people the skills. What did I just say before? You can teach someone to sell, right? But we want someone that has a will to achieve, that's in line with your brand, and they love what you do. All right, number 5. How do I overcome an objection? Well, look, it's simple. I mean, it's not a hard process. Like I said before in the second question, that people will say no. Okay, when they say no, it's a matter of going through a process. Now, if you've ever studied with me, if you know much about what I do, I have something called the objection funneling formula. Right? It's a 3-step, really simple process on overcoming any objection. It's basically this. If I just nut it down for you in a couple of seconds here. First of all, when someone gives you an objection, you need to clarify what they're saying. If they say it's too expensive, what are they talking about, right? Are they talking about the price of the initial investment? Are they talking about an ongoing cost? You have an ongoing cost. When they say it's too expensive, or they say they need to think about it, they say they need to speak to the competition, they say they need to speak to their wife, all the common objections people have, think about what they're saying and clarify what they're saying. Ask them the question and clarify. Second thing, isolate it. If they say, look, I just need to speak to my husband, say, no problems, just so it's clear in my mind, is that the only thing holding you from moving back today, right? That's isolating it. So the second step is isolating it. Then the third one is overcoming it. Now, anyone can teach you about the process of, overcoming that objection and be able to help them. But what the biggest problem that people have is that 85% of the time, statistically, 85% of the time you get an objection, people are lying to you about that objection. They're lying to you about the real reason that they're not moving ahead with you. So instead of teaching you about overcoming, I'm going to teach you how to isolate, clarify, isolate it, and then be able to work with it and overcome it as well. But this is a process you want to use. It's really simple. It's a three-step process. Number one, clarify. Number two, isolate. And number three, then you can overcome it. Objections are a part of life. You're going to get it. It's going to happen. It's part of business. And last but not least, one of the biggest questions that we always get all the time is, how do I get more leads? Well, it's a simple process. It depends on the size of your company, but one of my recommendations of a book on Amazon, 101 Ways to Get More Leads on and Offline for under $100. Check it out. Have a look at the book there. All of the lead ideas I'm giving you on and offline are all under $100 for you to be able to execute. You've got to be doing. You've got to be marketing. You've got to be branding. You've got to be out there doing direct marketing. You've got to be out there branding at the same time. So look at some of those ideas. They're going to give you 50 or so. I think it's 51 offline ideas and 50 online ideas that you can use that all cost under $100 to get out there and to get leads. So that process of getting out there and finding new clients, it takes action. You see, you can look up different ways to get leads. You can even read my books and find out other ways you can get leads. But unless you take action, you do it, you're never going to get any more leads as well. So here's my number one principle in getting leads: execute your marketing. Do your marketing, execute your process, and you're going to find you're going to have more leads coming through. 101 ways to get more leads on and offline. It's definitely the recommendation for you to have a look at. So they're the 6 top questions that I get. In the last 6 months, when we've polled all of my team and everybody else that have come through social media, through all the people that we work with at the moment, the top 6 questions, I've just answered them for you. They're not hard. They're really simple processes for you to be able to work with. The difference is you. Stop holding excuses back. You're gonna come up against problems. You're gonna have excuses. You need to be able to deal with those individually, or if these come up within your team, you need to be able to deal with those, because they're all excuses, right? We can deal with all of them. I just answered the 6 most common questions that we have got in the last 6 months just there for you. So if you want to learn more, some details on the page, check out what we do, and I look forward to mentoring you one-on-one anywhere in the world with our programs and our live events. This is Sansoni saying, live with purpose, live with passion, and live with profit. I'll speak to you soon.